Team Canada men's hockey team at the Olympics out of the gate 2-0 as they beat Switzerland 5-1. That is Pierre. I am Dan. We start with the big news from the game. It's not the score. It's not Canada's win. It's a injury to the Switzerland's Kevin Fiala that happened in the last 2 minutes of the game. Goes awkwardly into the boards. No malicious intent on the hit, but it looks like a leg injury in which he was carted off the ice. Pierre.
Felt so bad for him. Feel real bad for Tom Wilson, the player that was engaged with him in the hit. It was more of a reverse hit by Fiala, Dan, to be totally fair to Tommy Wilson. Feel bad. I was doing a playoff game in 2017, St. Louis and Nashville, when Kevin was part of the Nashville Predators organization. He broke his leg badly. It required surgery. And I just remember him sitting up in the stands in Nashville while we were doing the next game in that series. And you could see, that was obviously a big question about where he would go with his career, but obviously he's responded really well. Here we are a decade later, and he's become one of the better pure scorers in the league. I just hope it's not that same injury that's been re-injured and, that it's not anything serious, but it did not look good, to be fair.
The game wasn't chippy, but there was some juice to it. But as soon as that happened, you saw exactly how hockey players handled themselves as the entire roster for Team Canada came out onto the ice to salute him as he was carted off.
I thought that was so classy by Team Canada, number one. Number two, I love the fact that Drew Doughty, who's his teammate with the Los Angeles Kings, was the first person to address him from Team Canada when he did go off the ice. I'm sure Tommy Wilson's already made his way to the Swiss dressing room just to see if, Kevin's okay or if he could talk to him. I love the way you described it too, by the way, Dan. There was no malicious intent there. That was a hockey play that just went wrong. All that being said, Canada was full value again today. There were some things they can do better. Their transition game out of their own zone needs to be a little bit more precise. They could defend a little bit harder, especially around their goal. They could be a little bit more efficient utilizing those face-off wins to create more offensive opportunities. But outside of that, they were great. And I think you, like me, probably appreciated the super line that got put together at the end of the first period with Celebrini, McDavid, and McKinnon. That's fun to watch.
It's fun to watch also whenever Team Canada goes to a power play. My grading after the first game was an A+. The Swiss exposed some things in which Canada needs to work on. I rate them a B for Team Canada in this one, Pierre.
I'm going to give them a B+ today. So I'm going to
Okay.
go down a half a grade, go up a grade from you, but a B+ today. So I'm dropping a little bit, but I think that one thing that I was concerned about yesterday after game one, the puck movement and transition game out of their own zone, we didn't see it again. And one of the reasons why I think we didn't have Josh Morrissey in the game for Canada, I'm not going to knock any of the players that are there because that's an amazingly hard team to make, Dan. But the truth of the matter is, Josh Morrissey's better than almost every player they have on that defense when it comes to moving the puck. You take him out of the lineup, that's a big loss.
Uh, every hockey team is like a train. When you start a train, it's going to take a little while for it to get moving. So they have not reached full speed yet, 2 games in, but so far as they check the dials and the switches, they like what they're seeing. And if they get to full speed, because right now they aren't operating at their capacity, it could be scary.
I agree. And one of the things that I liked is I wasn't a fan of playing Nick Suzuki on the wing. So they create this super line with Celebrini, with McKinnon, with McDavid. But what they also do is they move Suzuki to the middle, and he plays with Tommy Wilson and Brandon Hagel. That's a really good line. Now you got, Crosby and Stone with Mitchell Marner. That's a great line as well. So you got firepower all through the lineup. You can roll 4 lines. You can put all kinds of duress on the opposition defense. I really like that subtle little move by the coaching staff today. And it was an in-game adjustment, but I thought it was really smart. And you're going to see it's going to pay dividends down the road. My biggest fear, Dan, and I talked about it yesterday, I'll say it again. I know I'm being redundant. They got to get Morrissey back in the lineup. He's a really important piece on that back end.
We wondered if Jordan Binnington would get back-to-back starts, and you said if it was up to you, you'd ask him, hey, do you want to start? He didn't even dress for this game. He sat in the crowd.
Yeah, and he probably said to the coaches, I don't need to play tomorrow. But I do think he'll get some kind of time against France. You can't sit out that long and then expect to play in the medal round, the one and done phase and not have played in a while. That's just not how NHL people work. So I would imagine he's going to get some time against France. I'm not sure he's going to get the whole game. He may just say, you know what, play me half the game. That's all I need. And then they maybe get Darcy Kemper in there. But no, I thought it was handled well. Logan Thompson showed some nerves, with the catching glove in particular, but I thought he was fine. He made some good saves when he had to.
So Team Canada has a day off before they face France for their last game of this round. You're at the Olympics. You want to experience the Olympics. Um, so what takes precedent? Team building or stuff in as much practice as you can?
They'll have a practice. One of the things that happens, especially with Team Canada, I haven't been around them so much. They usually have a vast array of family that are with them, and they're not staying in the village. They're staying at a hotel. So I'd imagine there'd be a team reception tonight. There'll probably be a team dinner where everybody's invited, family, friends, whatever, of the traveling party. Tomorrow they'll be back into their routine of practice, I would imagine, and then get ready to go for Sunday. It's a 10:40 start Eastern time. And so I would imagine they'll be ready, and then there's no looking back. There's no more safety net after Sunday. It's you either win or you go home.
And it's also enjoying the Olympic experience because if you're an athlete at the Olympics, you've got a pass to go kind of watch from the wings of any event. So I'm sure that's going to be taking place.
One of the coolest things, and I like doing this when I was broadcasting, this is my eighth one working. I'm not there this year to do it, but like when I went to the Summer Olympics, I always tried to go watch the tennis. I thought the tennis was awesome. And when I go to the Winter Olympics, I always try to go watch speed skating.
Yes.
And I thought speed skating, just being in the oval, especially when the Dutch are doing so well or the Canadians are doing well, the fans are awesome. It's energizing to actually go. So those were the two things I like to do in the summer. I'd like to go to tennis when I wasn't working. And in the winter games, I really enjoyed going to speed skating.
You'll probably have this memory top of mind because I had this discussion with someone about speed skating, and I was talking about the canal here in Peterborough that is currently not operational. That's for another story. But I said, as soon as I saw Gaetan Boucher at the Olympics, the next day I was out at the canal, and I'm like, I want to be that guy.
What an
Remember when he
amazing,
skated? It was outdoors.
yeah, what an amazing athlete. So I had the honor and privilege. So Gaetan Boucher is one of the all-time greats. I also had the privilege of getting to know Eric Heiden and Bonnie Blair, who were superstar speed skaters, one on the men's side, one on the women's side. Eric Heiden set all those records outside Lake Placid High School in Lake Placid, New York, at an outdoor rink that still is there, Dan. It's unbelievable. It's still there. And I've had some of the most fascinating hockey talks with Bonnie Blair because her son played Division I college hockey. So I'd see her at different Olympics, and she's an amazing ambassador for the sport. And I'd talk to her about speed skating. We talk about hockey. So I'm a big fan of the speed skating people. I really am. But Gaetan Boucher, phenomenal, phenomenal Canadian athlete.
How great would that name have been if he decided to take up hockey? Le premier étoile, the first star. Like just as picked by Red Fisher of the Gazette.
Tu parles en français très bien, Dan.
No, I just know it from
Incroyable, Dano.
just the 3-star selections because we would get the Habs games on Chex TV here in Peterborough. So I got to see all of those with Dick Irvin on the call.
Dick Irvin, and then you heard Claude Mouton saying Le premier étoile, the first star.
That's right. So Pierre, who's your biggest surprise? That's a tough question on this team because all these guys are all-stars, so there probably shouldn't be a surprise, but who have you seen said, wow, I didn't know he'd be this good?
Well, I knew Celebrini was going to be good. I didn't know he'd be this good, this fast, playing with McDavid, and now obviously, McKinnon. That's unbelievable. He's a 19-year-old. He's a young man still. He's not even a man, and he's just thriving out there. It's his release. It's the way he tracks down pucks, his strength of playing on the boards. He's a natural center iceman. His ability to shoot one-timers. I'm blown away. Now, again, everybody's going to do comparables. I think, and I've said it since his draft year, I think Macklin Celebrini is Jonathan Taves with way more offense. That's a heck of a player.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan Taves in 2010 was the MVP of the Olympics, when Canada won gold. He played on a line with Rick Nash and Mike Richards. He was phenomenal. And I'm watching this kid play with McDavid and McKinnon. I'm going, I can't believe he's not intimidated playing with those guys. And he clearly is not. He's not.
One of the things that we both agreed upon was Canada needs to shoot a bit more. Did you see that happen in game 2 against Switzerland?
I did, and I'm glad you brought that up because that was one of the course corrections I was worried about after the first game, but I did see more of that here in game number 2. I don't know if we'll see that against France. I just hope it doesn't get out of hand too early so that some bad habits don't creep into their game. I hope there's enough, and I think there's enough leadership on the team where they're not going to do that and freelance. They got to play a strict, structured game so that this is a last dress rehearsal before the knockout round. So I would hope they're going to do that. But no, I did see them shooting the puck more, and I saw them deferring less and shooting more, which was a good thing, not a bad thing.
That's got to be tough knowing you're going to play France. And I would like to see the odds. It's probably 50,000 to 1. You go up 5-0 on a team like that. You can't embarrass them and stop playing, but you got to still keep playing the game of hockey. So you're in a very awkward position because, as you said, you don't want to embarrass the other team.
And I think what'll happen if it does get to that point, you're going to see Horvat and Reinhardt and Marchand if he plays, or Sammy Bennett. You'll see those guys getting more ice time as we go along. Maybe even, I don't know, for the sake of argument, just trying to figure out Seth Jarvis. Maybe he goes back, and I thought he was good, by the way, created a breakaway for himself in the game. So I think the depth players will get more ice time if it gets to that point. And then when it gets to the power play, they'll just keep refining it, and the French better not take a lot of penalties. That's all I'm going to say. Because if they do, they're going to get lit up like a Roman candle.
Did the Swiss surprise you that they put up more of a fight than Czechia?
No, the Swiss are a proud hockey country, and Czechia played well. They weren't ready for that Canadian onslaught yesterday. Canada was just so revved up to play. I thought the Swiss were really good. I like the way they play. I think Switzerland is a very good hockey country. There's a lot of expats that are living there, coaching there, and it's not just Canadians and Americans. There are a lot of Russians there too that are working. So they've done a nice job. There are a lot of Finns there too, to be fair. So they've done a nice job with their programs, and those kids, a lot of them come over here and play. Nico Hischier played in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. You go down the line, Timo Meyer, the same kind of stuff. So the guys come over here and they play and they get used to it, and they're proud people. And I'm not surprised at all, no.
The one thing Canada will get flack for is having a black maple leaf. Jay mentioned this on his show, and we talked about it during the game. I'm like, I don't know how, when you're going through our colors, you decide to put a black maple leaf on there.
So I don't know much about all the color schemes and stuff, but I really like their traditional uniforms. So I'm just going to take a pass on that one and say
you aren't going to offend anyone.
I know. I didn't like the sweater. Can I just say that? I didn't.
Yeah, you can say that.
I didn't like the sweater.
It wasn't designed by like a grade 4 class or anything, so you're good. You aren't going to offend them.
Thank you, Dan.
Pierre, you'll like this. Valentine's Day is Saturday. I was talking to a buddy today, and he said, yeah, my wife was saying, yeah, we aren't going to do anything for Valentine's Day. So I said, okay, so what are you going to do? He's like, well, she said we aren't doing anything. I saved this man's life. I said, oh no, you're doing something, because what's the worst that can happen? She's surprised. So for any people out there, if your spouse or partner said, no, we aren't doing anything, that's a trick. That's a trap.
So Dan, I have to share this with you and our great viewers. I've been married to the same woman for 27 years. Her birthday is February the 14th, 1971. Wow. And for most of those years of the 27, I was not home because it's right in the middle of either the Olympic season or the NHL season. So now I do have a responsibility, and I'm looking forward to fulfilling that responsibility tomorrow for my wife, Melanie, who, like I said, was born in 1971. I won't say her age. You guys can do the math.
You've already got the honeymoon suite with the heart-shaped jacuzzi tub booked at the Twin Oaks.
No, I'm in Bluffton, South Carolina, and that's fine for me, Dan.
Okay, enjoy. Wish Mel a happy birthday from us.
You are so kind, Dano. Thank you very much. Have a great night, everybody. Congratulations, Canada. Dan, I can't wait to work with you again very soon.